When you think of World War II tanks, there's probably one name that just looms larger than all the others: the German Tiger. It conjures up this image of a totally unstoppable steel beast, right? The absolute peak of wartime engineering. But here's the question. Was it really the game-changing weapon everyone thinks it was? Well, let's dig in and find out. Let's just start with this one number: 5.47 to 1. So according to the German records, this was the overall kill-to-loss ratio for their heavy tank battalions that were equipped with Tigers. Now, what that means is, for every single Tiger they lost in combat, they claim to have knocked out almost 5.5 enemy tanks. This one statistic, right here, is really the heart and soul of the Tiger's fearsome legend. And what a myth it was. I mean, this was a weapon so intimidating, so powerful, that it literally created its own legend on the battlefield. For Allied soldiers, just the rumor of a Tiger being in their sector was enough to cause real panic. It became this ultimate symbol of German technological might, a monster that just seemed to own the battlefield. So what exactly was the Tiger? Well, officially the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Tiger. It was developed back in 1942 pretty much as a direct answer to the Soviet T-34s that had really shocked the Germans. But this wasn't just going to be another tank. No, this was designed as a breakthrough weapon. The whole idea was to use this heavy hitter to just smash a hole in the enemy lines, letting the other, faster units pour right through. And when it got to the battlefield, the Tiger was just in a completely different league from what it was up against early on. I mean, just look at this comparison with the Soviet T-34. The Tiger's incredible 88mm gun could kill a T-34 from over a kilometer away. Think about that, a kilometer away. At that same distance, the T-34's gun was basically useless against the Tiger's thick 100mm frontal armor. The shells would just bounce right off. This created this bubble of almost total invincibility. It could sit back, pick its targets, and destroy them from a safe distance where it was effectively immune to whatever the enemy was throwing back at it. A true predator. And the legend only gets crazier when you look at how some of the elite units performed. Check this out. The 502nd Heavy Panzer Battalion scored a kill ratio of over 13 to 1. And even more insane was the Tiger Company from the Gross Deutschland Division, nearly 17 to 1. I mean, these are just staggering numbers, and it was stats like these, achieved by the best crews, that really cemented the Tiger's reputation as this unbeatable killing machine. But you know there's a but coming. Every legend has a hidden truth, a weak spot. And for the Tiger, that truth starts with this number: roughly 57 tons. Yeah, this incredible weight, the very thing that gave it all that protection, was also the source of almost every single one of its critical flaws. Because that weight, oh man, it created a logistical nightmare. It put unbelievable strain on the engine and the transmission, which meant they were constantly breaking down. It was way too heavy for most European bridges. It guzzled fuel like you wouldn't believe, and if it ever got stuck in the mud, forget about it. Trying to recover a 57-ton tank was a monumental, sometimes impossible, task. And then there was just the sheer complexity of it all. The Tiger was famously, or maybe infamously, over-engineered. This quote about its road wheels really says it all. Quote, "To get to the inner damaged element, you had to dismantle the outer ones." This was not a machine that was built for quick and easy repairs out in the field under enemy fire. And here you can see exactly what they're talking about. This is the Tiger's famous interleaved road wheel system. Now, from an engineering standpoint, it was a marvel. It gave the tank a super stable ride, which made it a great firing platform. But can you imagine being the mechanic, trying to fix one of those inner wheels on the Eastern Front, knee-deep in freezing mud? It was a total nightmare. It's the perfect example of prioritizing performance over battlefield practicality. Even just moving the Tiger from one front to another was a massive headache. It was too wide to fit on a standard European railway car. So every time they wanted to transport it by rail, the crew had to go through this incredibly long and difficult process. They had to take off the wide combat tracks, then take off the outer set of road wheels, and then put on a whole different set of narrow transport tracks. This thing wasn't a nimble weapon. It was a behemoth that fought you every step of the way. And all of these problems, they all point to a much bigger picture, a fundamental truth of modern warfare. A war isn't just won by having the best weapon. It's often won by the side that has the most weapons. The Tiger's individual skill was amazing, sure, but it was stuck fighting a war of mass production. And this chart lays out the brutal, cold arithmetic of World War II. Germany built a grand total of just 1,347 Tiger I tanks.
Now compare that to nearly 50,000 American M4 Shermans and over 57,000 Soviet T-34s. You see the problem? Even if your Tiger could knock out 5, 10, even 15 Shermans, the Allies could just keep bringing more to the fight. They could overwhelm it with sheer, crushing numbers.
And you also have to think about the opportunity cost. Every single Tiger they built came at a huge price. It was incredibly expensive. For the cost of one Tiger, Germany could have built 4 Stug 3 assault guns, which were really effective, reliable vehicles. It took 300,000 man-hours to build a Tiger. That's twice as long as a Panzer IV. Germany was pouring its precious, dwindling resources into a few fancy sledgehammers when what it really needed was a massive arsenal of simpler tools. So what you end up with is this huge paradox. It's a tale of two tigers, really. On one side, you have the tactical monster, the deadly gun, the thick armor, the terrifying reputation. But on the other side, you have the strategic failure. It was built in tiny numbers, it was mechanically unreliable, it was a logistical disaster, and it was just way too expensive for a country that was losing a war of attrition. In the end, the Tiger was a tactical sledgehammer in a war that demanded mass-produced, reliable tools. And here's the real kicker. A huge number of these tanks weren't even destroyed by the enemy. They were just abandoned by their own crews when they broke down or, more often, when they just ran out of fuel. A powerful weapon made completely useless by its own complexity. And all of this leaves us with a really fundamental question about war and technology. What makes a weapon the best? Is it the one with the most impressive stats on paper, the biggest gun, the thickest armor? Or is it the one you can actually build in huge numbers and get to the battlefield, fueled up and ready to fight? I think the story of the Tiger gives us a pretty clear answer.